God says. Explanation: David expresses his desire for God's protection and care. He asks to be kept as the apple of God's eye, a metaphorical expression meaning to be cherished and guarded. He seeks refuge under the shadow of God's wings, a place of safety and comfort. Verse 9: From the wicked who are out to destroy me, from my mortal enemies who surround me. Explanation: David acknowledges the presence of wicked individuals and enemies who seek to harm and destroy him. He calls on God to deliver him from their plots and schemes. Verse 10: They close up their callous hearts, and their mouths speak with arrogance. Explanation: David describes the wicked as having callous hearts, lacking compassion and empathy. Their mouths are filled with arrogance and pride, using words to exalt themselves and belittle others. Verse 11: They have tracked me down. They now surround me, with eyes alert to throw me to the ground. Explanation: David expresses the dire situation he is facing. The enemies have pursued him, encircling him and watching for an opportunity to overpower him and cause him harm. Verse 12: They are like a lion hungry for prey, like a fierce lion crouching in cover. Explanation: David compares his enemies to hungry and fierce lions ready to pounce on their prey. He portrays them as dangerous and stealthy, waiting for the right moment to attack. Verse 13: Rise up, Lord, confront them. Bring them down with your sword. Rescue me from the wicked. Explanation: A plea for divine intervention, David calls on God to rise up and confront his enemies. He asks God to bring them down and rescue him from their wickedness, using his metaphorical sword to defeat and deliver him. Verse 14: By your hand, save me from such people, Lord, from those of this world whose reward is in this life. May what you have stored up for the wicked fill their bellies. May their children gorge themselves on it, and may there be leftovers for their little ones. Explanation: David prays for God's salvation and protection from the wicked individuals of this world. He recognizes that their reward is limited to this life only. He suggests that God's judgments and retribution should be poured out upon them, leaving them empty and their descendants without sustenance. Support our community and donate us through Super Thanks. Verse 15: As for me, I will be vindicated and will see your face. When I awake, I will be satisfied with seeing your likeness. Explanation: David concludes the song with a statement of confidence and hope. He expresses his assurance that he will be justified and will behold the presence of God. When he wakes, he will find contentment in seeing the likeness of God. He declares his assurance of being vindicated by God and looks forward to the day when he will see God's face. He expresses his satisfaction in the prospect of experiencing the likeness of God, symbolizing the joy of being in his presence. Psalm 17 is a heartfelt prayer that expresses David's trust in God's righteousness and his plea for protection from his enemies. Support our community and donate us through Super Thanks. Type yes if you believe in God. God bless you. God says, it serves as an example for us to approach God with honesty, seek his guidance and deliverance, and place our ultimate satisfaction in the presence of our Creator. Psalm 18 is a psalm of thanksgiving and praise by David. It celebrates God's deliverance, strength, and faithfulness in times of trouble. It is a reflection on David's personal experiences of God's salvation and victory. The psalm is divided into three main sections: David's praise for God's deliverance, his testimony of God's intervention, and his acknowledgement of God's enabling power. In the opening verses, David declares his love for God and acknowledges him as his strength and deliverer. He describes how God came to his rescue, delivering him from his enemies and granting him victory. David vividly portrays the powerful imagery of God's intervention, using descriptions of earthquakes, smoke, fire, and the parting of the heavens. He emphasizes God's righteousness, faithfulness, and mercy towards those who are loyal to him. David continues by sharing his personal testimony of how God responded to his righteousness and faithfulness. He acknowledges that God rewarded him according to his integrity and blamelessness. David describes how God equipped him for battle, making him swift and strong. He acknowledges that it was God who gave him victory over his enemies, crushing them under his feet. David attributes his success and achievements to God alone. In the final section of the psalm, David extols the virtues of God's instruction and word. He acknowledges that God's laws are perfect, reviving the soul and providing wisdom. David recognizes the value of God's presence, rejoicing in its clarity and guidance. He emphasizes the significance of God's word, which is more desirable than gold and sweeter than honey. David concludes by expressing his desire for his words and thoughts to be pleasing to God, acknowledging that God is his rock and redeemer. Support our community and donate us through Super Thanks. Psalm 19 is a psalm that celebrates the revelation of God through his creation and his word. It consists of two distinct sections: the revelation of God in nature and the revelation of God in his word. The psalm highlights the beauty, order, and purpose found in creation and underscores the value and significance of God's law. The first section of the psalm focuses on the majesty and glory of God as revealed in his creation. David begins by declaring that the heavens declare the glory of God, and the skies proclaim his handiwork. He describes how day after day and night after night, creation bears witness to God's creative power and design. David emphasizes that there is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. The celestial bodies are likened to a bridegroom coming out of his chamber and a champion rejoicing to run his course. David concludes by affirming that the sun provides warmth and light to the earth, and that God's creation is perfect and brings joy to the heart. Support our community and donate us through Super Thanks. Type yes if you believe in God. God bless you.